the United States Supreme Court upholding a constitutional amendment in Michigan that prohibits racism in college admissions. We'll talk about that more in the second hour, but it's extremely important. It fulfills Martin Luther King Jr.'s vision that nobody would be judged based on the color of their skin, but instead by the content of their character. So the state Supreme Court says, yes, the voters in Michigan, they can amend their constitution to ban racism in college admissions. If you give preference to one kind of skin color in admissions, you are disfavoring somebody else. That's discrimination against somebody else who has a different skin color. That, ladies and gentlemen, is racism. Affirmative action is racism. Quotas, racism, because you're making judgments about people based on the color of their skin. And America is designed by Christianity and by political principle to be a meritocracy, where what we reward is not skin color, but we reward achievement. We reward hard work. We reward initiative. We reward innovation. So a huge step in the right direction. And it has profound implications for the marriage amendment cases that are making their way to the Supreme Court. Talk about some of the implications of that in the second hour. All right, let's go to the phones. Let's go to Lawrence in Jennings, Louisiana. Oh, no, let's go to Barry. I'm sorry, Barry in Tennessee. Barry, thanks for calling. Thanks for waiting. What's on your mind?
Hey, thanks, Brian.
Yes, sir.
Hey, I just got a couple of questions.
Yes.
Why is our Congress letting him do this? And why is the governors of the states that he's wanting to take away the power from the National Guards, why are they not stepping up and broadcasting this far and wide?
Well, you know, that's the $64,000 question, Barry. And I'll tell you, I honestly think that part of it is that people have a hard time believing what they're seeing because this is so unprecedented. You know, we are so used to having respect for the office of the presidency that I think the American people are just now catching up to how alarming some of these trends are. And it takes a while for people to wake up, shake the sleep out of their eyes, and then get their bearings and try to figure out what to do. But I agree with you, Barry. I've felt for some time now that the key to all of this is going to be a governor, a conservative governor, with the backing of a conservative legislature. Remember, Republicans now, not all Republicans are conservatives, but I'm just saying there's a chance here with Republicans in control of 26 governor's mansions and state legislatures. It's possible you can have a conservative governor backed up by a conservative legislature representing the citizens of that state who could stand up to the federal government, could stand up to President Obama, could stand up to the BLM or whoever. You know, Library of Congress, they're armored up. It's unbelievable to me what's going on there. So I think that's the real question, Barry, is will governors recognize what's being done to the citizens in their state, and will they have the courage of their convictions to step up and uphold the Constitution? You know, you think about what's going on with the BLM out there in Nevada. You know, you go to Article 1, Section 8, which lists everything, every power of action that we the people have given to the federal government, and there's nowhere in there where it says they have the authority from we the people to manage rangeland inside the borders of individual states. It's just not in there. So to even have a Bureau of Land Management, there's no authorization for that in the Constitution. So everything that the Bureau of Land Management does, it has absolutely no constitutional authorization to do. So if a governor was to step against that, was to confront that and say, look, this far and no farther, he would not be defying the Constitution. He would be the one that would be upholding the Constitution. It's the Bureau of Land Management and a president who would be backing them up and sending them out on these raids. They would be the ones that would be violating the Constitution. All right, I appreciate the call, Barry, and that's really the $64,000 question. You know, and that's how I end my column today. Who will stand in his way? Is there going to be somebody in Congress? Is there going to be governors? Is it going to be states? Or is it going to be nobody? And are we just going to be steamrolled by this juggernaut? All right, let's go to Lawrence in Jennings, Louisiana. Lawrence, welcome. What's on your mind?
Well, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing fine. You didn't want to say it, but I'll say it. He knows what he's doing.
Okay.
He's playing it exactly the way he wants to play it. And why you think he's buying all them bullets and stuff? When it comes time for him to get out of office, then you better watch him. But anyway,
Yeah.
My sister, I was talking with her the other day, and just to get off a little bit on about the Obamacare. They called her and told her, you know you don't have insurance? She said, yeah, I know that. They said, you know you're going to be fined? She said, I'll just pay the fine, but I'm not getting on Obamacare. He said, or she told her, she said, you know that you can pay the fine for 2 years. Then the third year, we're going to pick you up and put you in jail, and we're going to fine you, and we're going to put a felony against you.
Now, who said this to her?
The ones that called her that was selling Obamacare.
Oh, really? Now, do you know who this caller was representing? Was she representing a state exchange or an insurance company or the Obama administration?
It's probably the Obama administration. I mean,
what you're saying?
How did they know she didn't have no insurance?
Yeah. So what you're saying? They called her up. They initiated the call. She wasn't calling them. Can you help me get insurance? They were calling her.
They called her.
You don't have it. You need to get it. And if you don't get it by the third year, we're going to throw you in jail. That's what she was told.
Yeah. And that's whenever they were trying to get that number up. You know?
Yeah. And how long ago was that? That was back.
That was probably
back in March, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay, that's when they were
February or March.
Yeah, that's when they were desperate to try to get their enrollment numbers.
Yeah.
And by the way, all right, so what's your takeaway from that, Lawrence? I mean, what's your reaction to that? What was her reaction to all that?
Well, she said, "Just come get me, turn a killer loose, and put me in jail."
Well, I've got a story here in New York Times. A guy saying the same thing. Look, as an ordinary guy, they got his picture in there. I'm not going to do it. He says, I can't afford it. I tried to get insurance. I went on the website. It took me too long. I couldn't get through, couldn't get on. I don't have the money. My income is not as great as it was. I don't have insurance through my company. I just can't afford it, so I'm just not going to do it. And this is the New York Times. So the idea is if the New York Times is writing about this, then this cannot be something that is occurring just in isolated situations where people are just making a deliberate decision, not going to play the game, not going to get involved in that. And, one other thing, Lawrence, before I let you go, I saw a story, I had it in the stack yesterday, about one of the state exchanges, I believe, and I don't remember where this was, but the number of people that have actually paid their first month's premium under Obamacare is less than 50%. Where was that, Georgia? Georgia. Yeah, it's like less than 50% of the people that got insurance through the exchange have actually paid their premiums, which means they're not insured. Now, you project that. I mean, the Obama administration is talking about the fact we've got 8 million people signed up. Well, if only half of them or less than half have actually paid their premiums, then maybe you've got 4 million people that are actually signed up under Obamacare. All right, Lawrence, I appreciate the call. Thank you.
One more thing.
Yes, sir.
Now, if you have a felony against you, that means you cannot have a gun.
Mm-hmm.
So, every one of them that don't want to fall under his Obamacare, they'll put a felony against him, and they're going to take them guns will be gone. Now, I really think with the National Guard situation, I think he'll hear from Bobby Jindal. I really do. I think our governor will stand up and say no.
Well,
That's not going to happen.
I hope one of them will, because so far all of these governors, and I don't know what their options are. I got to admit, I do not know what their legal options are, but they're just kind of meekly submitting to surrendering these Apache helicopters. Nobody seems to be complaining about it. I mean, in political power, I think the Guard types are complaining about it. I mean, they know that this isn't good. It's completely restructuring their mission and their role in the military and all that. They're not happy about it, but I haven't seen any governors complaining about it yet, and I'd love to see Governor Jindal be the first. All right, Lawrence, thank you for the call. I appreciate that. Let's go to Lindsay, North Carolina. Lindsay, welcome to Focal Point with Brian Fisher. What's on your mind? Lindsay, are you with me?
Oh, yes.
Yes. Go right ahead.
Yeah, I'm here. I believe you've hit the nail right on the head concerning what our president is doing, his agenda. Last year, I saw online a video. I went on WND, and it was through Vimeo.com.
Mm-hmm.
The name of it was Agenda, Grinding America Down.
Yeah, Yeah, a good friend of mine made that movie.
Yeah, well, I think everybody should see it, because not only on the defense side, our president is attacking us on many fronts: education, health care, I mean, you name it. This country is in dire straits because of what he's doing. And if we don't get him out of there and then get back to our basic rights and what the Constitution says, we're going to go under.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, you know, and it's interesting. You know, the title of Curtis's documentary was "Grinding America Down."
Right.
And that's kind of what's happening.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. He's overstepping his bounds. This thing about the ammunition. I've heard stories about the stuff that came out of Iraq, 9mm rounds and all. They're giving it to people for his own militia. I mean, our service doesn't use that type of round. And then for all these other outfits, the ones you named, for them to have hollow points, who they going to shoot? The American people with them?
Well, you know, and that's the point I made in the column, Lindsey, that, you know, this hollow point, and our best information is that the Department of Homeland Security, which I didn't even mention in the list of federal agencies that are armed to the eyeballs, Department of Homeland Security, they've got 1.6 billion rounds of hollow point. And, you know, one of the things, Lindsey, about that, according to international treaties that we sign and that we observe, you cannot use hollow point ammunition in combat, in war. So it's against international law, against international treaties that we've signed and we observe to use these in war. So the only possible target, Lindsey, the only possible target for that 1.6 billion rounds of hollow point ammunition is American citizens being fired on by federal bureaucrats, not by law enforcement, but by federal bureaucrats. And so, like I say, I think it is truly alarming. All right, listen, I appreciate the call, Lindsey. Thank you for that. And Mark, if you'll hang on, we'll take you coming right out of the news. Stay with us. You're listening to Focal Point on AFR Talk. Brian Fisher is my name. News is coming up. Stay with us. We'll see you in just 5 short minutes.